Hi, welcome to Astrobabble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
And today we are going to be talking about the full moon in Cancer at 16 degrees, 22 minutes.
Very nice. And I'll bring up the chart. And Donna, are you going to tell us about the moon mansion for this full
The
moon?
moon mansion, this will be, I have worked with this moon mansion before. It is the ninth moon mansion. It is Altarf. I think that's how you enunciate it. I have to get with my friend and get my enunciation, I think, better. It has the nature of Saturn and Mars in this moon mansion. So it is good for destroying crops. It is good for making unfortunate journeys. It is good for water travel, however. It is good to strengthen your gates or your fences. It's good for moving beds, and it's good for sowing, like seeds, sowing seeds, and it is good for fitting canopies, and that's where I used it. Yeah, so this is really good. It is also called the glance of the lion's eye. So that's the interpretation of the stars that it's by. Yeah,
Nice.
that is called the ninth moon mansion.
Oh, interesting. Hmm.
It is.
Well,
We were refitting her and we had to do the new canvas on it.
mhm.
And so I elected to do it on this for using this mansion. And it worked. It just first time went in like a charm.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the other things were pretty hardcore, destroying crops.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. There's a lot of, well, it's Saturn and Mars. It's the nature of
Yeah.
Saturn and Mars. So
Mm.
it's drive, it's aggression, it's boundaries,
Mm.
it causes division between allies. Yeah,
Oh,
it's not really. Yeah, I was very lucky my husband and I didn't fight during this major project. But yeah, it does cause allies to have disagreements and divisions. So
interesting.
be careful
Yeah.
with it.
Well, way back when, or even today, I suppose, if you go into war and not a good time to be approaching an ally to help you. Interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
if
this,
you were going to war.
yeah, if you were, I don't do that very often.
No.
We've got the full moon in Cancer. So the moon rules Cancer. So the moon's in a very good position here. Really interesting that we have the Sun conjunct retrograde Mercury at the time opposite the moon. I'm just trying to work out, will that be cazimi? That will,
Hellenistically, it would be, but I think it needs to be within 15 minutes of it being cazimi for
yeah,
Renaissance.
the medieval. I think maybe it's just out for the Hellenistic too, just over that 1 degree. So that Mercury could be causing a lot of drama. So full moons are about high points, culminations. It's associated with the harvest. So yeah, this full moon could have some snafus because Mercury is retrograde. It's opposing that full moon, and it's so close to the sun that it's all burnt up.
Yeah.
We also have Pluto in the same sign with the sun and Mercury. So Pluto is opposing the full moon by sign, but it's good 11 degrees away. So hopefully not too much drama. Uranus will be sextiling it. So adds that element of the unexpected, but not necessarily in a bad way because it's a sextile. So hopefully nice, but with the outers, you can't be sure.
Yeah. No, you can't be sure.
Yeah, so that will be interesting. Shall we
Not
have
too bad.
shall we have a look at the horoscopes for each sign?
That sounds great.
Okay, so we've got the full moon in Cancer. If you're a Cancer ascendant, this is happening in your first house. So full moons about culminations, high points, or endings. With a full moon in your first house in particular can be quite, it's a very visible house. It's one of the angles, and yeah, you might be quite visibly emotional. And this doesn't necessarily mean bad. It could be good emotion, but perhaps there might be something quite emotional. It's likely to do very personally with you because it's a first house, which is all about you. So that might be your health and well-being. It might be your appearance. It might be how others view you. So yeah, something coming to a culmination or a high point for you.
Very nice. And this is your planet, so you're
Yeah.
familiar with this kind of energy for sure. And so if you are a Gemini, this is going to be happening in your second house. So this will be culmination of things that you've been trying to acquire, things that support you, things that you value. So you'll be seeing a lot of that kind of energy coming into you for this full moon, which is nice.
Yeah, I just wonder with it in the second house, and then you've got that opposition from that Sun and retrograde Mercury, and that retrograde Mercury being burnt up. Maybe, you're waiting on money to come through from somebody else. So it might just not be exactly when you expect it. Maybe there might be a slight delay or something with that, perhaps.
That's possible.
If you are a Taurus ascendant, this full moon will be happening in your third house. And the third house is siblings, it's our local area, it's our neighbors, it's extended family like cousins and aunts, it's short courses, short distance travel, communications, transportation. So there might be a high point or culmination or an ending to do with one of these topics. Maybe you're moving from the neighborhood, or maybe a sibling has something that they've been working on and this is a high point for them. Or maybe you've been taking a short course and this is a time when you graduate or receive your certificate or finish the course, something similar, some sort of high point, culmination, or ending to do with one of those matters.
Wonderful. And so if you're an Aries, this is going to happen in your fourth house. So this is going to be great if you have been working on your home, doing a project. This might all be coming together for you. It could also be anything from your family homeland or your lineage. You might be getting something from, an heirloom or something from your family, from like like I'm saying, your heritage type family. I'm not talking about your immediately like your children and your husband. I'm talking about
Mm.
your lineage, like way back. Maybe from your homeland. If you're uh Italian, you might, get Italian something or other, wine or whatever. Anyway, but this would be something that you would be getting um and coming together in your fourth house. So that's where the full moon's going to happen.
Or maybe a trip back to the homeland, or the ancestors' homeland. That would be interesting. I was just
Yeah,
looking too. Everything's all the planets are between the two luminaries, the sun and the moon. If you can see this on YouTube or wherever you're watching it, it's quite interesting because it doesn't look like it's the sun and the moon are opposite here, but they don't look like it because we've got so many planets in Capricorn at the moment. Just sort of.
very interesting. It is. It is. It's almost like there's just a train, just a bunch of energy just on one side, and
Hmm. Yeah.
it's it's very interesting.
And if you are a Pisces ascendant, this full moon is happening in your fifth house. So the fifth house has to do with our children. So this could be a high point, a culmination, or an ending to do with something with your child. Perhaps they're finishing up a project, or maybe it's something to do with you yourself. It could be to do with romance. It could be to do with socializing or creativity. Maybe you've been working on a project, or, artistic project, and it's coming to some sort of completion. It could also be hobbies, or just whatever you do for fun. There might be a high point, culmination, or an ending to do with one of these matters.
And so if you are an Aquarius, this is going to be happening in your sixth house. And this is the house of service. It's also the house of pets and maybe employees that you might have. So you might be getting a new pet, or something about your pet is culminating. It might have starting to graduate its obedience school. You might get a new housing for your pet. These are all different kinds of things that you could do for your pet that would your things that you have worked for, that you've started, and you're now looking for completion for them.
Yeah.
This could also be with your work and service. If you are, trying to finish something in your job, if you are a service worker, like a nurse, a doctor, police officer, fireman, that's all represented by this house. So,
and if you are a Capricorn ascendant, this full moon is happening in your seventh house of relationships. So yeah, there could be completions, high points, or perhaps endings to do with relationships. And that might sound a little bit stark. You might think, oh no, my relationship. But sometimes, an ending can be like the end of one stage and the beginning of another. So, that sometimes, yes, it is endings, final endings, but sometimes it's just, maybe you're taking the next step or something. So, and the seventh house, we tend to think of as romantic partners, but it's also business partners and it's close friends. It could be close friend is going away, moving, or it could be a business relationship has come to a completion. So if you're Capricorn ascendant, don't stress. But there is that Mercury retrograde very close to the sun, so it's all burnt up opposite the moon. So you may need to watch how you communicate, particularly perhaps with partners, because that Mercury energy, it's just, I just think this whole full moon for everybody, regardless of what is coming to a completion, a high point, or a culmination, there's the potential for mix-ups, misunderstandings, delays. So for you, I would say just be aware, or try to be aware of, how you're interacting with partners.
that's a very good point with the sextile to Uranus. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything could happen that's unexpected, shocking, with all of the signs, because those qualities there that are cozying up next to the moon, can
Yeah.
offer the shocking element to whatever
Mm.
you're trying to do. So no matter what house it is, it could be shocking, and it could be misinterpreted with that Mercury retrograde. So
Yeah, I was just thinking that Uranus in the fifth too, that could be a new, sudden, different romance too. So interesting.
very much so. Yeah, very could be interesting, but it's definitely it's one I wouldn't blindly run into.
Yeah.
I would meet this transit with open eyes as much as you can.
Yes, I mean, we've got that Mercury retrograde just not in a good position. Mercury rules what, your sixth and your ninth, but I know that we've got a Venus square Uranus aspect coming up not long after this full moon. It might be a couple of days afterwards, but I know it's coming up, and that can lead to disenchantment. And Venus Uranus can be quite often, it's exciting, but it can be very sudden and over
Yeah,
before you kind of
there's
actually
that
get
Neptune
started.
there that's trining that moon as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's all kinds of reasons why you are not clear on
Mm, yeah.
anything.
And that's in your third house,
Communications, your
thinking
thoughts.
and communications. Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you are a Sagittarius, this is going to be happening in your eighth house. And this is the house of other people's money. It's the house of your significant other's money. It's also the house that rules um, wills and trusts and loans, even taxes. So some shocking things could be coming out of this about those subjects. It is also the house of change. So, with Uranus in there, anything's a go.
Yeah. I was just thinking too, you've got, the full moon, the culmination. So you're expecting a loan to come through, you're expecting an inheritance to be settled at this time or something. And, but down in your second house of personal finances, there's that Mercury retrograde burnt up by the sun. So how does that expression go? Don't count your chickens before they hatch,
Exactly.
yeah. Wait till it's in your account, maybe. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily negate it. It just means that, there might be some mix-ups or delays, or misunderstandings regarding these matters. So
definitely a full moon to kind of just
kind of be
going quietly and don't touch anything.
Yeah, particularly
as I've heard that phrase on Facebook many times.
It's got that Mars Saturn flavor, like you said at the beginning when we were doing the moon mansion. And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, this full moon is happening in your ninth house. So this highlights it's the harvest or culmination, high point, or perhaps endings to do with matters with legal matters. So it's possible that you could have a lawsuit that's being finalized at this time. It's also higher education. So maybe, there's a graduation ceremony at this time. It's foreigners, long distance travel. So maybe you finally get to make that long distance trip. Or it's esoteric subjects like astrology or tarot. It's religion, beliefs, other cultures. So any of those matters could be coming to some sort of completion, high point, or ending.
Very nice.
That Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun opposite that moon, send you a third house of communications. So you might not be as clear to other people as you think you are. So it might not hurt to repeat yourself or kind of make sure that, you understood what I said, sort of thing, particularly regarding those ninth house topics. Make sure everyone's
Very
on the
nice.
same page.
And if you're a Libra, this is going to be happening in your 10th house. And the 10th house is your house of career. So things might be coming, you might get recognized for something that you've done at work. Could also be recognition for, what you're known for in your world, in your community. Yeah, but like Lynda has been saying, you've got a lot of those shocking and planets that don't really follow the program, which was Mercury being retrograde right now, the trine to Neptune, the sextile to Uranus. Those are all ready to disrupt the apple cart.
Yeah. And the 10th's a very, very visible house too. So but it could be a really nice time, maybe because you can sometimes get this, like, yes, it's kind of tends to be career, but you might be getting married or, giving birth or something, for whatever reason you've got the spotlight on you, but it might not go as smoothly as you think. That's all. And that doesn't matter. That's life.
Right. There's many phrases: roll with the punches, ride the waves. There's many sayings of how to
Adapt. Yeah.
navigate these energies. And it does it. I think you need a little bit of flexibility in order to really withstand all the
That's really
shock
interesting.
and the
you know, like you said,
What's
like
that?
roll with the punches. That's very Aryan. So that would be good for your fire signs. And you've got ride the wave, which is kind of good for our water signs. Kind of like, you know, I got Mercury in
Yeah.
Pisces. So I'm like, oh, yes, we should explore that. But calm down, Lynda. Not today. Okay. Well, dear Virgo, I'm going to finally get to your horoscope. If you're a Virgo ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 11th house of groups, friends, and organizations. It's also the house of your hopes and dreams, and it is people that can assist you. So, yeah, this could be a culmination to do with a group, or maybe your friends have all had something planned, high point, or it could be an ending. Maybe, you know, a group that you've been a member of, you're no longer with them anymore. Maybe you're moving, or, you know, it's coming to an end, or you've aged out of it, or just not interested anymore. There is that opposition from Mercury and the Sun, with Mercury being retrograde and burnt up by the Sun opposite it in your 5th house of what you do for fun versus the 11th house, which is kind of what you do with other people. So, yeah, maybe it could be interesting. Maybe you will have commitments because there's a lot going on in that 5th house that maybe you can't necessarily be right there or as present as you would like to be for those groups, friends, and organizations. And again, you know, sometimes stuff just doesn't work, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's definitely not a time that you really want to, with all of the planets that are good for your efforts. It's a time to just, take a chill.
Yeah.
It's don't have a lot on your plate if you can help it, I would suspect. Or be ready for, things to crop up that you would need to address.
Yeah, double check
Um,
the details. You know, where is this event being held? You know, is it in the GPS? Is it your phone charged? You know, lots of things, you know, just that can help mitigate some of those issues sometimes. And plus everybody be going through it at the same time. So it won't be just, you know, Virgo or whoever, you know. And if we didn't mention it when we did your horoscope, that doesn't mean that you won't be, you know, fall prey to that somewhat too.
disrupted.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't get away with it. We just didn't mention it.
It's going to happen with everybody. And if Leo is your rising sign, this is going to be happening in your 12th house. And the 12th house is the house where you would go away and reevaluate, maybe reconstruct. I know I'm using a lot of the rewords because Mercury is retrograding right now, and it signifies redoing a lot of things. But the 12th house is where you want to it's the place of seclusion and hidden. It's things that are hidden. This could bring out hidden things that you are trying to resolve. This happened if you were to go back what you were working on at the beginning at the new moon, if there's a book that you were starting to write, or this might be a time where you want to go and reevaluate, and so that you can bring it out into the light, because the next place where this moon is going to be going is into the first house. So that's the kind of vibe that you're getting with the 12th house full moon, is a chance to culminate in the things that you are, whether it's you're getting done with like a rehab, could be a place where an institution that you were at, might be you're able to gain your freedom. This could also be that you have lost your freedom. So but it is the 12th house is signified as the place where you go to, a place that you go away from the rest of the world
Mm,
in
mm,
seclusion.
All places of confinement, like you were saying, prisons, hospitals, rehab. Yeah. Interesting. And then you've got that Mercury Sun, you know, combination down in the 6th house of illness. And yeah, very interesting. And
trining
that won't be
Neptune.
applicable for everybody, but just interesting to see.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Well, 1/12 of the population is going to be seeing it.
but not everybody that's Leo ascendant's necessarily going to be experiencing it, because we can all experience things different ways too, and sometimes we're more sensitive to full moons, new moons. Like if we've got a Cancer or a Leo annual perfection sort of thing. I was going to
I'll
say
be
something.
more into how we feel because the moon is in Cancer. I mean, and the moon is speaks of how we feel. And being in its own domicile, it's going to have strength.
I was
It'll
going to
also be
say
the house of
something.
undoing.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say.
So
With that Mercury, what is Mercury rule? The 2nd and the 11th. Okay. I was just wondering, with Mercury burnt up by the sun there, if it's possible that, maybe you're released from hospital perhaps, but maybe it's just a little bit too early. You got to go back. I don't know. That's just maybe a possibility. Hopefully not. And Donna, do you have a stone for us?
I do. I have the stone of called amber, and it is called a crystal, although it's not from a stone, it's more from um uh, I had it written down. It's more of a it is a resin. But
Okay.
this is amber.
Okay.
Yo, and it is see-through. You can see through it a
Oh,
bit.
okay. Yeah, because it almost looked
So it
kind of
is
purpley when you held it up, and I always thought amber was kind of yellowish.
this is yellow. The other, yeah, because this bracelet is
Mm,
amber.
mm,
So it comes in all these different kinds of colors.
mhm.
It has
Oh,
a gamut
oh,
of
that's
yellow.
all amber, all the different variations there. I'll hold it up again.
It is. It is.
I'll hold it up again, yeah. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah. So it gets quite dark too, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite dark. It can also be not see-through. This is see-through. That's not see-through.
Nice.
And here's pieces of it.
Hmm.
Um, they are that's not so see-through, where this piece is very see-through.
Mm.
So it comes in different shades like that. It also comes in, this is called Baltic amber. Yeah, Baltic amber. From the Baltic Sea. It has it's organic material that gives it its color. So otherwise it's resin, and so it's wherever trees are found is where you will find this particular stone. It, like I said, it has the most hardness of 2 to 2.5. It resonates with the third chakra, the solar plexus, and it goes with the element earth.
So 2.5 for the most hardness. That makes it quite easily breakable or broken.
Broken, very, very easily broken. Yeah, I
Interesting.
could take a piece and snap it if I wanted to.
And like you were saying about all the chakras and that, but what else? What's its main signification?
Its main signification is healing. It's energetic, but healing is is how I use it the most. I'll put it like on a stuffy nose.
Uh-huh.
It yeah, it's for uh getting rid of the things that you don't want in your body, like
Oh, okay.
viruses.
Interesting. Hmm. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
it is a very good stone. It's warm to the touch. I mean, if you put it on, it's
Mhm.
warm to the touch. It's not a cold stone. It's very, very nice. I really like this stone. It's good for to boost immunity.
Mhm.
It also, I use it in grids for healing. That's how I use
Nice.
it most of the time. I mean, if I'm not using it on, a part, for like, stuffy sinuses and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Good for allergies.
Nice. My sister's middle name is Amber. I'm thinking I should buy her an amber bracelet or something.
Very nice idea.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, and you'll be writing an article for us?
I will be writing an article. I do not have it written yet. So
We've been doing so many 2023 horoscopes. We've forgotten how to do these. It's kind of like, what's next? Yeah. So we're a little bit out of practice, even though we did one of these. Can only have been 2 weeks ago. Seems like a long time ago.
no, actually we did it early. We did it on December 12th when
Oh,
when
okay.
the
So,
shadow
so it's
period of
been nearly a
Mercury went
month.
into effect.
So that's why. It has been a
Yeah,
month
it was all.
then, nearly. Well, not really. Maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We've done a
And
lot
we've
of
done
videos in between. We had to
we
do
have
Libra and Virgo horoscopes again because I lost them.
we ended up on the
Thank
cutting
you,
room
Mercury
floor
retrograde.
in the yeah, that's a Mercury retrograde thing. And it was two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
shall we have a
the
look at
planetary aspects that we have coming up are relatively gentle, I think.
so our first aspect is a Sun conjunct Mercury, which will be a cazimi. That will be on the 7th. So that's the day afterwards, or when is the full moon?
The same it's going to be the day after.
Yeah, day after. Saturday, yeah. So yeah,
13 hours after.
oh, very good. So yeah, Sun conjunct Mercury, cazimi when a planet is conjunct the sun. It's said to be in the heart of the sun. It's like having the king's ear. Some people think it makes it extra powerful. This actually kind of gives it some protection. So 15 degrees leading up to, if a planet is within 15 degrees of the sun, unless
15
it's a
minutes.
sign of its that it rules or it's a sign of its exaltation, it tends to be burnt up and what we
Oh,
say
yeah,
under the
that's
beams.
degree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of hidden. The sun's so bright that you just don't see it. Good for undercover work, but yeah. And then halfway through, it meets up with the sun. And in this case, this is when it's retrograde. It also does it when it's direct. In this case, it's kind of like a reprieve. It's like a planet cazimi is like a man who has been on his, maybe not deathbed, but he's been sick, he's been ill. And this is kind of like when he turns the corner. He's not fully healed, but it's a respite.
A little boost of energy, a little
Yeah,
boost.
yeah.
Yeah, and this is the inferior conjunction, so this
Mm-hmm.
isn't going to be the strongest of them. It's still, I think I still like Mercury in the sun for good ideas. So,
Mm.
grab your crystal, time to meditate, you know, grab a crystal, time to meditate, and this is a good time to get information.
Yeah.
It's better when it's more direct, but this is still good.
And, me and Donna are Hellenistic astrologers. So we kind of believe that, within a degree. So, when it's within a degree coming up to it and a degree going after it. But we also have done horror astrology, and the medievals tell us that it's 16 minutes, which is a lot closer. But regardless, it's not just when Mercury is exactly at this point, there is a give or take amount of time. So maybe up to a day either side, maybe. So when I cut this up for the, because what I do, I take these aspects and cut them up. When I do that, I will put in, the exact times and dates that you can expect that for the Hellenistic method of 1 degree, and I'll do it for the medieval within the 16 minutes.
Very nice. I will look forward to that.
Excellent. And then on the 8th, we have, what do we got? Retro Mercury conjunct Uranus. That can't be right.
No, it's trining.
It is. See, this is me. This is
It's trining.
retrograde Mercury. Let me fix that.
It's okay. We know it's a trine. Yeah. With Mercury trining Uranus, this speaks of the energy of technology, having a snafu. And Lynda is demonstrating.
Yep.
Lynda is demonstrating exactly what this looks like. But yeah, and it's not anything major, catastrophic, but expect them. They'll happen. They probably, they're happening probably now, in certain areas of your life, because when the planets are applying, it's that's when that kind of energy is the strongest, and we're definitely within 4 days of this. Oh, not quite. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, we are kind of within 4 days of that. So we are in a Mercury retrograde right now as we're taping this on January 2nd. But yeah, it will still be this aspect is applying for technology kind of snafus. With Mercury in the retrograde, it doesn't act the way it wants to. And, with Uranus is known for that shocking, unexpected, revolutionary. Yeah.
Usually if Mercury was direct and it wasn't, because now it's it's combusts the sun, the sun's burning it up, so this Mercury is not awfully strong, and it's retrograde, and that trine to Mercury, you think it would be helpful. Usually if it was direct and in good position, I would say this is great for innovative ideas, and maybe it still will be, but maybe there'll just be little snafus like I had conjunct instead of trine, going too fast. But maybe snafus with technology, or you got a great idea, but maybe you might need to go back and redo it or refine it or re-edit it or something similar.
Yeah, there was somebody who said expect the unexpected, and I think they said it during this type of an aspect. So the next aspect is going to be Venus is going to trine Mars, and these are not really, they're not, one of them is a nice planet. She's known as the benefic, but the other one is known as the malefic. So however, these two do need to have each other because they're kind of that astrological pair that are always together, and you kind of need that, bring it in and then create the drive to get it to work. So they kind of work kind of together, but they're very opposite. Taurus is opposite Scorpio, so they do have that oppositional type of energy with them. They act, and they act different. Like Venus will be the nice person. Is it like the good cop, bad cop? I don't know. It's the Mars is the aggressor, and Venus is the one who wants to smooth everything over. And so when they're working together in a trine, it should be a good work because a trine is a good aspect. So hopefully, that's how it will work out for you, is when this happens, and it's going to happen on the 9th. So that's next Monday.
Mars is very close to the degree that it's going to station at. I'm not sure when exactly. It must be within the next day or so. It might even be later that day. Let me have a look.
I know it happens on the 12th, so this is on the 9th.
Oh, okay. So it's 3 days later. Out. Yeah, I'm getting carried away, but it is at 8 degrees, which is the degree that it's going to station at. It's going to be really slow. It's moving at -8% at the time. Venus, meanwhile, is moving at 126.9% of her usual speed. They are an archetypal pair, Venus and Mars, it goes together, but, very different energies. It's a trine. Hopefully it's good, but Mars is retrograde, so there is that. So, maybe, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Mars retrograde. He's coming back to maybe, hopefully, apologize. Maybe he's upset her. He's coming back to apologize. Who knows? But yeah, maybe there will be something to do with relationships, and maybe there will be a reversal of, or, there's been some aggression or impatience or irritability perhaps, and maybe this is a time where it's kind of like, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm a beast. So maybe,
Yeah.
hopefully. And that Mars
Yeah.
is getting ready within 3 days or so to station, so he'll be sitting there thinking about it. Well, not
Exactly.
necessarily this. He's probably thinking about all sorts of other stuff. So, yeah, I'm a bit silly tonight. So, we've been doing this for a while. Okay.
We have been. We have
And
been. And the next aspect is going to be Mars is going to station direct. And this could be impactful. A lot of times when a planet stations either retrograde or direct moving forward, it kind of it's been going in one direction and it will slide back to the other direction. But before it kind of does there, it kind of wears a wear mark in the fabric of the degree that it's at. So if you have any planets at 8 degrees of the mutable signs, you are likely to feel this impact you a little bit more drive, or a little bit more impatience, or it could even be I'd watch out for accidents as well, because Mars is known for bringing on you're not thinking about when you go into sliced tomatoes and you just slice your thumb open, or your finger, and it's the time to be mindful when Saturn, or not when Saturn, but when Mars is stationing, because it's got, especially if you have planets at 8 degrees, it might be a little bit more impactful for you.
so, yeah, so Mars is going to station retrograde. He's been retrograde for a long time. I think the 30th of October was when he stationed retrograde. He's been in Gemini for a long time. I think it's around about the 25th of March this year now, that he actually gets out of Gemini finally and moves into Cancer, which is a sign of his fall. But we have a thing called the retrograde shadow period. So basically, he needs to catch up to where he was when he first stationed retrograde, before he's kind of technically free and clear of issues. So for some people, even though Mercury's stationing direct on the 12th, it might take till the 15th of March before all those issues kind of,
Resolve.
Sorry, what?
Before they resolve,
Yeah,
or get
yeah.
readdressed,
Yeah,
re-looked at.
And because with Mars, Mars's action, energy and all that, it might be, there might still be some things holding you back, or you need to wait, or it's kind of really testing your patience and frustrating you. So it might take till the 15th of March.
Mars has been in this house for 6 months now. We've got another month to go yet, but it's been in there for a very, very long time. So it will be good to have it going forward and moving on.
But at least, with it stationing direct, and certainly when it gets to the 15th of March, you should at least be able to move forward with whatever the house that Gemini is in your natal chart represents, topics to do with that. So that will be a relief. There's a light.
It will be a relief to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next aspect is the sun sextiling Neptune. And Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So the other ruler is Jupiter, but with the sun sextiling Neptune, um things that could be hidden that you didn't expect were hidden. It also could be, foggy boundaries, foggy conversation. You might not really realize uh where things are. It's an ethereal planet where not everything is meant to be darkly bold.
Yeah, very good at blurring the boundaries. With Neptune, it's like, what am I not seeing? It can be romantic and idealistic. It can be creative. It can be intuitive. I think with this, hopefully, this sextile to the sun, hopefully it will be quite good for creative projects. Could be very idealistic. Yeah, creative, good for hunches. But yeah, that sun is getting very close to Pluto there. So that kind of adds a bit of edge to it, I think. And with the outer, sometimes the the trines and the sextiles, even though they're considered an easy or a soft aspect, sometimes it just allows those planets to kind of weasel in and do what they want. So maybe it would be a good time to schedule things like maybe even meditation or something like that, or creative projects. But yeah, really, yeah, with that Pluto there, I would hope it wouldn't, but just could be very easy to kind of fool yourself or get carried away with something at this time, perhaps. I mean, there's 5 degrees between the sun and Pluto, so it's not super close, but it's getting very close.
Yeah, it is still in that applying phase.
Mm,
Yeah, definitely to be watchful, but you could either get good ideas from this or as well intuition. So
yeah, yeah, it could be very good
I
for
like
that.
that. Then we have Venus squaring Uranus, which is Venus, who is in Aquarius right now, and she'll be squaring Uranus. It's a hard aspect. It's a aspect that's meant to cause action. A square is tension. Something's got to give, and you know, if you have, this would be a good time for if you had a relationship, it might be a time to move it up or advance it. This could also be a relationship that you might have with a type of person that you've never dated before. Um, if you've always gone for blondes, you might go for a brunette, or, a taller or a shorter person. It's just, it would be different, somebody who you would normally go out with. It's a great time for trying those out.
Yeah, this could be quite challenging. It's challenges in relationships or to do with affections or values. May not necessarily be a romantic relationship, could be relationships in general, friends, all sorts of relationships, or, to do with your personal values. Um, the square, it could be a matter of, like, particularly with relationships, perhaps one partner wanting more freedom or changing or acting erratically. And that's kind of, not sitting well with a partner, perhaps. A lot of us don't like change, and, particularly with things that we value, and, that can be quite frightening and scary. So I understand that, but perhaps this will be to benefit your relationship, perhaps to bring more freedom or innovation or newness or originality. But because
Yes,
it's a square, it's probably going to be, there's going to be tension involved. It's not going to be comfortable.
typically.
Mm.
And then speaking of scary, the next day we have Mercury stationing direct. That's not the scary part. It's the sun conjunct Pluto, which is the scary part, which also happens that day. But first we'll talk about the Mercury stationing direct. And at 8 degrees, it was, I'm looking where Gemini is. because Gemini or Mars stations at 8 degrees as well. So
Yeah.
that's why it just caught me off guard. I was like, what planet am I talking about? Mercury stationing direct. It's after all of that, trying to travel and having your travel plans messed up, or maybe communications with someone got messed up, and this would be the time to when it's stationing, it's going, okay, now that we've gone backwards and we've addressed certain topics, now we're going to go through it the way they were supposed to. And so hopefully this station direct will kind of smooth over all the bumps that you've been experiencing for the last since December.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier about Mercury being under the beams or even combust the sun, what like for the new moon, not new moon, the full moon in Cancer. The sun and Mercury were very close, and it was kind of harmed or burnt up by being so close to it. But now you can see there's 20 degrees between Mercury and the sun. The sun has moved forward. Mercury has been moving back, but now it's stopped. It's out from under the beam, so it should be visible. And this should be a morning star because it will rise before the sun. So, Mercury retrograde, yep, it'll be coming to a finish. There is a shadow period to take into account. Donna, do you have the dates? I think.
Yeah. Mercury will get out of its shadow period February 7th. It went into its shadow period December 12th, when we had taped our last full moon, new moon. Yeah. When we taped the last new moon episode, it was when Mercury was just going into that shadow period. So yeah.
Yeah.
It will be nice to get rid of the retrograde aspect of Mercury.
Yeah. So up until was it February 7th?
February 7th, yep, and it started December 12th. So that's all that shadow period.
Yeah. So depending where Capricorn is in your chart, you maybe have been experiencing issues related to whatever those topics are, delays, setbacks, misunderstandings, snafus. You might not be done yet, even though it's station direct. It might take until it catches up to the degree that it first started retrograding to. It's kind of like had to go back and do all that stuff, but now we've got to wait for it to catch up to where it was. And that will be February 7th. So sometimes you kind of get caught out. I've been caught out in the retrograde shadow period. It's like, what can you do?
That Mercury has well, we've had issues with our house. We've had a light fixture that stopped working.
Yeah. Oh, that's no good.
I know. It's a process, but I'll have to get through it.
I was just thinking that's brilliant. The sun with Mercury, the sun is actually a light and Mercury retrograde. Yeah, I like it.
I mean,
Anyway,
it's not real helpful when you're having a lot of people come over to your house and your front light porch light is not working.
no,
It's like,
it wouldn't be.
we just
No.
replaced this, we replaced it like 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Wasn't during a Mercury retrograde, was it?
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it isn't. It wasn't. You know what? I have to say, if it was, it would be so fitting because I really didn't like that light fixture to begin with.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
Maybe it's shining down on me and saying you get your way. You don't get that one. Yeah, but the other aspect that's going to be happening that same day is going to be the sun and Pluto are going to conjunct. And Pluto is it's got the reputation of that nasty planet because it's, nobody likes to transform, nobody likes to change or be burnt in, as Lynda was saying, that it's that phoenix kind of energy where you have to be burnt in order to rise.
Yeah.
But it's also the planet that Hades rules, and Hades is the god of the underworld, and so those kinds of things are, for lack of a better word, they're nasty. We don't want to look at what Pluto wants to bring. Society tends to not want to look at the energy of Pluto and what it brings, and the themes that are surrounding Pluto. So that's why that's why people are timid and shy around Pluto. But Pluto can be transformative. Pluto can also be that house or that planet that moves society forward. If you don't like homelessness, then society very well might be looking at how to not have that in your communities. If you don't like violence, your society very well might be pushing you to change that. And that's what Pluto does. It pushes societies to change what is the nasty parts that people don't want to look at. And so that very well could be, because I think this is going to be is this the last time the Sun and Pluto are meeting in Capricorn? I think they might have to retrograde. I think Pluto might have to retrograde, but I'm not so sure the Sun's going to be there. But that if that is the case where the Sun
will move out of Capricorn for good, maybe January next year. I think they do have one last kind of conjunction together, and then November 2024, Pluto is going to move out of Capricorn for good, and I know that because I'm a Capricorn ascendant and I'm waiting. So yeah, but no, I think next year we have a Sun.
So it might be
Pluto.
It might not be too strong right now.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, because I know this last time was the last time Venus was going to be in Capricorn with Pluto. I know this is the last time. January 2nd was the last time that was going to happen.
Okay. Won't be next year.
But for the Sun, it is not going to happen next year.
No, I don't think. I think it might be in Aquarius then. I'll have to have a look. I'm not sure. I don't think it moves
if this is
back
the
into Capricorn until September or something, 2024. So yeah, you might be right.
It will be impactful if it's the last time, I think, than it has for the last 20 times the Sun has met it met Pluto in Capricorn. This would be, I think, a little bit more impactful.
Interesting. Pluto can also be power plays. So I would like to think that for a lot of people, some Pluto could be feeling powerful within yourself, feeling like you're in control, master of your own fate sort of thing. Just generally, for a day or two while the Sun's conjunct that Pluto there, hopefully. For others, this might be a little bit more difficult. You might feel like you're not in control. You're not the master of your own fate sort of thing. Conjunctions, because it's a blending of planets, it can be good or it can be bad. Some of this will have to do with where Capricorn is in your chart as well. And is it making any aspects to something, close to your natal planets? But yeah, this is, I get very much a Phoenix from the Flames vibe, but you got to die first before it can be reborn. So
I know for the last time when Venus was on top of Pluto for the last time that she will be, that's Barbara Walters passed away real close to that. And if there's screams power plays, it would be Barbara Walters. I mean, not that she was power playing, but I mean she had that struggle of trying to get where she was. So
Was she the first woman newscaster or something?
she was. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
Venus, woman, and Pluto, and yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, when Venus was applying to that conjunction with Pluto. So
Hmm.
it's it can be very impactful. And I would yeah, the
Hmm.
Sun and Pluto I think will be meeting for the last time. May
Yeah, I think
not.
you're
They
right.
might have one more.
Oh, let's just look.
Let's just look.
Let's go a year ahead. Oh, well, have a look at this. Oh, wow, look at that. 29
Yep,
degrees, 59 minutes. Like
for
literally a
just a
minute out from
smidge.
changing into Aquarius. That's crazy. Yes, actually, now that I think of it, I think it does change back into Aquarius. It must be the 20th or the 21st of January. And then later in September. Ah. So yeah, so we got one more. So this might be really interesting. See what happens next January 20th. Interesting. But let's go back to where we were.
Thanks for indulging me.
Oh, that's okay. It's kind of like,
So yeah,
why are we arguing about this?
Pluto.
Let's just look.
So Pluto and the Sun will be meeting up for just a few minutes for the last
Mm,
time in January 20th, 2024. So they
mm,
have one more time to meet up, but this is darn close to the end.
yeah.
So we'll at least get an idea of we'll see what's happening that day to find out what's going to happen a year from now.
Be interesting. Be interesting if something does happen. Yeah, I don't
Definitely a
know.
day to journal.
Yes. And speaking of journaling days, later on the 20th, we have the Sun entering Aquarius.
On the 20th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
very nice. So, yep, when a planet, even the luminaries move into a new sign, it's a good day to journal because it does it it is more impactful, I think, on the day that the planet does move in, or the luminary in this case,
mhm.
the Sun going into Aquarius. Moving on, we have more of a technology kind of flavor to it, more air. It's the sign of the fixed air.
Mhm.
So that'll be very nice.
It is a sign
It'll
of the
be
sun's detriment, though, which is unfortunate, but maybe. And see, this is it, when a planet is in detriment, it's opposite the sign that rules it. So, and the sun is all about us, you, the individual, and Aquarius is associated with humanity, you know. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I was going to say wherever Aquarius is in your chart, that will have the sun shining on it for the next month. You'll also be there you've got Venus and Saturn there as well. So its rulers there. Saturn rules Aquarius, so Saturn can help it. You've got Venus there sweetening it for a little bit, for possibly a week or two, maybe a week, 10 days.
and it's sextiling Jupiter, is what I was saying,
Yeah, sextiling Jupiter. That will
which
be
is
nice.
nice.
It will be very nice.
Hopefully. Jupiter is in Aries, which is not my favorite sign for Aries for Jupiter to be in.
Yeah. You don't have enough
Yeah.
Aries in your chart, Donna. That's all.
No, I don't. It's my 12th house. I'm glad to have it empty.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. I understand. It all makes sense
Yes.
now.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and then we are on to the new moon. The new moon in Aquarius will be happening at 1 degrees 32 minutes
Hmm.
of Aquarius. So that'll be really nice. It'll give us that, like you were saying earlier, Aquarius is known for the population at large, for the, the collective. So
Yeah.
very good energy. That's going to happen at 3:53 p.m.
Mhm.
on the East Coast here in the United States. So it will be more wherever you are. Um, think of it as New York time. So wherever New York is to you is where the
Yeah.
new
That's
moon will happen.
yeah, that'll be early Sunday or yeah, early Sunday down under in Australia. But
Very
Pluto
nice.
will be very, very close to that new moon. It will be an outer sign conjunction, but like that's 3 degrees, so it's quite interesting. Might give that new moon a bit of a boost or not. Saturn with it, so it can at least help it. Yeah, and then I've got that sextile to Jupiter, like you say, so that could be quite helpful.
Yeah.
So, Donna.
Those are the aspects for the fortnight of the full moon in Cancer.
Mhm. And Donna, where are you and where can people find you and what services are you offering?
I hail from Southeast Michigan,
Mhm.
and I have a website address, donnabastrology.com, and I have all my contact information there. And I do natal readings as well as year in advance readings, as well as horary and um, electional. And I also work with stones to support healing, uh, physical or mental. It all like if you're under a lot of stress, or you're not sleeping well, don't suffer. Give me a call and set up an appointment with me. I will be happy to do a distance healing. That's what I do through Zoom.
Very good.
And Lynda, what do you do, and where can people get a hold of you?
I offer natal readings, relationship readings, and year ahead readings, and I'm at Scallywag Astrology. So,
Very
yeah.
nice.
So thank you for listening. Please like, comment, share. We love your comments. We find that people are starting to comment a little bit more, and it's really quite interesting. So,
So we love to hear from you, and thank you for listening.
thank you. Bye bye.